Hello, students. This is Mr. Simons. It's great to see you and great to be here starting some games, right? We're finally here. We built enough skills to actually get game building, okay? So I've given you 3 starter games out of the curriculum here, and they're in increasing difficulty, right? Okay, so you got the maze one first, Pong is the second most difficult, and the most difficult is scrolling. If you want to make multiple of these, you can do all 3. You need to do at least one of these games. And if you really do get stuck on game building, I've got a starter game I can give you, and you can remix that. Okay, so let me know if you're really stuck here. I've also given you the Scratch Studio on games. It's linked in each of the tutorials here, so you can go and you can see what other students have done and other people have built for Scratch games here. I mean, there's hundreds and hundreds of them. So especially the maze game, there's tons and tons of the maze game. Here, let's play it real quick. You press the arrow keys to move the ball. Okay, press the arrow keys. So this is pretty simple, just the basic version here. And of course, you'll want to make these much more complex over time. And boom, you win, right? Here, so let's take a look inside real quick. And you can see it's using basically exactly the code that it says in the starter game here. So when the right arrow is pressed, you move, you point in a direction and move. When the left arrow is pressed, you point in a direction and move. Okay, so for using the arrows, you can do that. You can use any keys. You can use WASD if you like. All right. This tells your sprite where to begin. And now when you bounce off the edge, it'll bounce you off. Now, another option that people will do in a maze game is to, instead of bouncing off the edge, they'll send you back to the beginning if you touch the edge in a maze game. Okay, so this is just a starter project here, very basic, but there are some suggestions here on things to try, adding multiple levels, making a score block to keep score. You can try some of that stuff, which will be extensions later in the week. Okay, you want to make sure you're adding your game to the week 3 studio here. Okay, let's take a quick peek at Pong here. You create 2 sprites, a paddle and a ball, right? And you make the paddle sprite interactive. And so you can see some of the code here. And let's take a look at the Pong starter here. This one works pretty well. Oh, gotta. So we're just using the mouse to follow this. And of course, you can change that to arrows if you want, whatever you want for improvements here. So if you want to just build one game and improve it this week or today, you certainly may. And then let's see inside on the Pong. So you just have two different sprites here, and I've got some. You can type a bigger number to make the ball go faster, right, in the move here. You can change what happens when the ball hits the paddle. You know, you can change that around, and you can change what happens when the ball hits the red area. You could lose, or you could make a number of lives. This is a really common one in a Pong game, is to give people like 3 chances to hit the bottom. Okay, start over now, and then after 3 times of hitting the bottom, you lose. Okay, so there's ways to modify this stuff. And again, if you want this starter project to remix, I'll make sure you have access to that. You just have to ask. Okay, so our third game, and this one's a little more complex here. Our third starter game is the scrolling game here, and see, it's a little like Flappy Bird here. Woohoo, made it through the first one. Oh, I touched the bar. Okay, so our Flappy Bird clone game here, and this is just a really simple version of this, and you'll see that you have two sprites, the helicopter and the gliding bars, and you'll notice that in the gliding bars there are three different versions of the gliding bars, so the gap is in a different spot, and you change the costume each time to get it to glide through there, and then you'll see how to make the gravity work and everything in the code here, and blocks to play with, more to do. You can check out different starter games in the game studio. You can see different versions of this and remix them as you want. If you want this starter game, please let me know and I will provide that for you. And then you got, of course, the Scratch Studio, which has tons and tons of games in there. Some of them don't work at all. I think this one right here, I tried to play and it just it didn't work at all. So we would need to remix that to get it to work, or just go on to something else, right? So like I said, hundreds of games in this studio to get inspired by. And so your instructions today: pick one of these games and build a basic game. Okay, either do improvements on it or build another one of the basic games, and then do the reflection questions. Okay, that's our first day of gaming week, our first gaming week. I'm really excited to be here. We'll work on score tomorrow, and then improvements on Thursday, and then we'll do debug number 4 on Friday. So mostly building games and just building. And you can start to make these really personal after a bit. I recommend that your very first game, just build it according to the directions and then worry about personalizing it from there. Okay? So, great to see you. Great to have us here. Let me know if you have any questions or if you want one of the starter games to remix. Okay? Have fun. We're gaming.